Hi, my name is Diane Benson, and I am here with you with Learning with the Library K through 12. And this month, we're going to be talking about how to use graphic novels, comic books, art, hero study in your homeschooling or school education. So let's get started by talking a little bit first about graphic novels. Sometimes graphic novels have the reputation of not being as rigorous as regular literature, but there are a lot of students and a lot of new research coming out that shows that graphic novels can be a great enhancement to the education of not only struggling learners, but also learners who are doing very well in their studies. Now, of course, when you're looking at graphic novels, it is up to the parent, the family, the teacher to determine what is appropriate for your student, for your age group, because every family, every group has different sensibilities of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. So just like you would with any other materials, I encourage you to take a look at it before you just hand it to the student. But I do want to encourage you not to exclude graphic novels from your education. We are seeing that it teaches visual tracking to students. Sometimes students have increased comprehension when they can look at not only the words but the pictures, and it can build vocabulary. The graphics aid comprehension. It teaches them visual literacy, and reading is fostered. And you can still do all the stuff that you do with literature, talking about who are the main characters, what's the plot, what do you think is going to happen next. But you can extend that and even have the student maybe draw what they think would be the next panel. And they don't have to be artists at all. It could be stick figures and little bubbles with a few words in them. We are also seeing graphic novels being used more in even science classes and math classes. And I'm going to show you some research on that as we go through our program today. But just want to kind of start out with, let's not neglect or not overlook the benefits of graphic novels, of comic books, when we are trying to educate our children. And wait, what? I am so sorry. We are going to have to resume this later. Someone needs help.
It's a total secret. I will never reveal my secret identity. It's an oath that we all take, and I take it very seriously. And I am such a discreet person. No one will ever know. Oh. All right, so we're going to start with some of the physical books in the library that are going to help you as a parent, a homeschool parent, a teacher, get some ideas about how you can use graphic novels, comics with your child to help foster a love of learning and help them dive deeper into some of the topics in education that they want to pursue. So the first book that I want to kind of pull out here is this book, which is Using Graphic Novels in the English Language Arts Classroom. So there's just in here a lot of information. So if you take a look at the table of contents here, you can see that this is going to give you some information on how you can help your student read graphic novels of literature, how to study them, look at the story structure, how to interpret them, and also how to take into account the visual portion as well as the words that are in there. So this is a great resource if you're looking to incorporate some more graphic novels into the education of your child. We have other books as well. Critical Insights, the graphic novel. This might also, as a teacher, as a parent, help give you some ideas on how you can incorporate graphic novels into the education with your child. And as I mentioned, it's not just literature. We're seeing a lot more evidence, research being done on using graphic novels in science and math and of course in history. But as far as literature goes, a lot of the classics are available in graphic novels as well. Fahrenheit 451 graphic novel available in our young adult section. Romeo and Juliet, another one. And one of the things I want to say about some of these classics like Shakespeare's plays, Romeo and Juliet, is that these are kind of like a cultural knowledge that we have. So your child may not really be interested in reading all of Shakespeare's novels, but really, in order to be culturally literate, if someone refers to Romeo and Juliet, they should have a basic idea of that storyline. So that's another good reason why some of these graphic novels are a good addition to the literature portion that you're working on with your students. Comics automatically leads to, for many students, an interest in drawing. And you can take that up and maybe have them write comics or guess what the next part of the comic would say. You could get into the history of comics. Comics reflect the times that we live in. Here's a good novel. This is The Birth of the Comic Book and tells about the people who kind of began this genre and how it all started. So good history information there. And another one on Stan Lee, more history about comic books that might be of interest to your student. If they're interested in writing, drawing, books galore in our library about those. And then sometimes this idea of comic books is a good way to begin an introduction to art. And of course, we have lots of different books on art in our library. So lots of good books to choose from. As I mentioned before, just take a look at them before you hand them to your student, but lots of good ways to get your student excited about reading. And if they need something different, if they're stuck in a rut, if they are a reluctant reader, these are all reasons that you might want to reach for some graphic novels at the Blount County Library. All right, let's move from some of the physical resources to what is available to you online. And we are going to be moving to the Tennessee Electronic Library. And then you will have this screen where you can pull up by the different grades that your student's in, or for parents, teachers, etc. You may want to look at some of the research on the educators page as well. And some of the stuff I'm going to pull is from there also. If you do the elementary school, there's a lot of in Gale where you can use this resource. You can move over and look at comics in this area as well. So let's see, we're in elementary, we're going to move to art and music, and we're going to look at art. And down here we have comics and comic books. So you can start your student to kind of read about that, learn more about comics, comic books, etc. there. What I want to concentrate on today is some of the academic articles that are going to give you ideas on how you can actually use these in your homeschooling or education. So the first one that I'm going to pull up, and again, this is all on the Tennessee Electronic Library, and we are going to put the names of these articles at the bottom so you'll be able to find these again. Graphic novels, a roadmap to academic success. So there's some interesting information in here about how schools have used graphic novels to increase retention, to get students more excited about education, etc. So I know these are kind of wordy. They they're very academic. But what you can do is kind of skim through, read them, and what I hope that they will do is kind of inspire you or give you some ideas, kind of as a jumping off place, is how other educators have used these in the classroom. And today's students are growing up different than a generation ago. We live in a society that is multimodal. They are always seeing images as well as, or in addition to, the written word. So another reason why you might want to incorporate this. This one is the potential of comics and science communication. And this takes into account where, sometimes we get in that kind of the way it's always been done. We got to read through it. It's got to be dense and full of words. But especially when you're talking about science, which is the world around us and which is living things and matter and atoms, we can also learn a lot by using comics in that. So this article is going to give some examples
articles of how they tried it out in some classrooms, how it worked for the students. So again, the idea here is that this article would just give you some ideas on how you might use this in the classroom. Our next one here is going to be about math. This is a STEAM experience in the mathematics classroom, the role of a science cartoon. So once again, ideas. I'm not going to go through all of these. I have a whole list of them that are going to be provided underneath this YouTube video. So again, I just encourage you to take a look through them, skim them, get ideas, let them inspire you. Because I think one of the things that we can do with our students is look at ways to think outside the box, because they are going to face a world that is probably different than the world that we all have grown up in. So part of what they're going to need to be able to do is adjust and look at things in different ways. And if we can inspire them by teaching them in different ways, they'll be better prepared to meet those future challenges.
Thank you for joining us for this month's LAL K-12 program. I hope that you'll be back with us next month when we cover how to begin the new school year, along with a more detailed and in-depth look at the resources available for you at the Blount County Public Library.